Well, there's a great deal of anticipation as the Roman Catholic Church's conclave is preparing to elect a new pope. It follows the death of Pope Francis on Good Friday. Well, not Good Friday, but Easter Monday. Cardinals now gather at the Sistine Chapel until they've elected a successor. The Pope will take over at a time when over 1.4 billion Catholics around the world are looking for leadership and wondering what direction the new papacy is likely to take. Let's bring in SABC News reporter now, who's live for us in that part of the world. Go to Trent Murray, our correspondent who's there. Trent, good evening to you. Good to see you. So the Cardinals have now gone into what's been described as seclusion. Speak to us about whereabout we are actually in the process.
Yeah, that's right. 133 of them, these cardinal electors that are tasked with the job of finding a new leader for the Catholic Church. They've all been flying in the past 48 hours or so, getting to know one another. It's a very interesting conclave because 80% of them were appointed by Pope Francis. So in many ways, they don't know each other and they're really coming from all over the world. So we know that they've spent much of today in some closed-door meetings talking about things like the Vatican's finances, also sort of the direction of travel in terms of the characteristics that they'd like in a new leader. And then tonight we understand it's just going dinner time here actually. They'll be sitting down for dinner, getting to know each other. I'm not sure what's on the menu, perhaps a papal pizza or pasta, maybe some Vatican vino, I guess you could say, but probably not too much because they'll have to be up early tomorrow morning for the big day. So the only certainty at this stage is that there will be a vote and there'll be a great menu. So as we wait then, Trent, the race, if I can term it in those words, to elect a new pope has been described as wide open, but there is chatter, right, about the stance the next leader will take, and also where in the world they will come from. Will it be, for example, the first cardinal from the African continent? I wonder how much of that conversation is happening around the Vatican at the moment. Oh, look, there's plenty of it, actually. I mean, I spent much of the day down in St. Peter's Basilica, and it is just an extraordinary scene, really. A lot of anticipation, people from all over the world sharing their opinions, chatting about what might be coming next. But you're right, I mean, this is an election race, effectively, a very different form of one, but 133 voters will cast their ballots. It's an antiquated system, centuries old. They will effectively write down their choice of candidate on a piece of paper, sealed off in the Sistine Chapel in that room as the vote takes place. And they've got a high threshold. They need to get to a supermajority of 2/3 effectively. What will happen tomorrow is there will be one round of voting. If they don't get to that 2/3, then they'll effectively take a break for 24 hours, come back Thursday, potentially Friday, where 4 rounds of voting can take place each day. And you're right, there are a number of names in the mix as potential favourites, including several from the African continent, including the Cardinal from Guinea, the Cardinal from Congo, and also the Cardinal from Ghana. If either of those 3 men were to be successful, it would be the first African Pope in 1,500 years and the first one ever from sub-Sahara Africa. So look, I mean, quite literally, the eyes of the world are on this, and it's going to be a very, very interesting conclave, just given the geographic spread. The last time this conclave happened in 2013, 48 represented. This time, it's 70. It's a much more diverse group.
And Trent, while the Church says this is a spirit-led process, so there will be a great amount of prayer going into the conclave, the cardinals who are part of the voting will have seen, before going to what is essentially lock-up, some of the speculation and even lobbying through the media, right, from the various regions of the world.
Yeah, there will be. But what you'll find is many of those cardinals, when they're asked that question, will say that they're here not representing their country or even their region, that they're here for the good of the church. So I think for them, they clearly feel a weight of responsibility. But look, you know, make no mistake, anyone that's seen the fictional film, The Conclave, recently, will know that there is some politics involved in all of this. There is groupings, there are, factions that perhaps want a more conservative church, others that want a more progressive church. All of that will be thrown into the mix as they get together and vote on all of this. And as you say, they are going into a lockup. I mean, it is an extraordinary level of security that's being put in place. We're being told the Sistine Chapel, which is where the deliberations and the voting takes place, it's been swept for listening devices and cameras. And they're even blocking the mobile phone signal in the room. They don't want any outside interference taking place in this centuries-old tradition. And so it's going to be a very, very historical moment that we'll see tomorrow. And it should be worth mentioning that this is the biggest voice that Africa will have had in one of these conclaves. Last time, around 10% of the Cardinals were from Africa. This time it's 13%. Much of that was the work of Pope Francis trying to pull the power of the church away from Rome and out into the rest of the world. So one round of voting tomorrow on the first day of the conclave, and then from then on we'll see 2 rounds of voting on each day until we see that signal, white smoke billowing from the Sistine Chapel. Any indication as to how long some expectations are surrounding the length or duration of the process itself? Well, the longest conclave in history took 3 years, but it was back in the Middle Ages. So we're not anticipating it'll take that long this time. Look, the last 2 popes that were elected, Benedict and then Francis, it was all more or less done and dusted within about 48 hours, 2 days. And so, that's sort of the expectation. But again, it's just very, very hard to predict. And so we will effectively wait for that 1 round tomorrow, 4 on Thursday, 4 on Friday, and then they can take a little break if they want and reconvene. But the way that the world will find out, as you say, it won't be how we're accustomed to finding out election results on our telephones and on the TV. It'll be from that white signal, that smoke. It'll be black smoke will be billowing from the chimney if it's an unsuccessful vote, if they haven't reached the threshold. But if that white smoke comes, then we know that a new leader has been chosen, a new pontiff for the world's 1.4 billion Catholics, and it will undoubtedly be a huge moment in St. Peter's Square there, where we are expecting tens of thousands of the Catholic faithful to come and watch all of this close up. Trent Murray, a long day ahead for you tomorrow as the conclave begins. SABC News correspondent live for us in Rome this evening as we wait for the Roman Catholic Church to elect the next Pope.